Amy a-hole for cutting off my family for getting a restraining order on my husband. I, 33, female, have been married to my husband, 32, male, for a few months, but we've been together for 6 years. My parents had asked us to move into their home 2 years back to help them out since my dad is medically disabled. We agreed because this would allow us to save up for a house. When I was 19, my father had a brain tumor, and at the same time, his mother was in the hospital and it wasn't good. My mom spent all her time at the hospital with my grandma, so I decided to take 2 years off from college and put in a leave of absence from my job until my dad was better, so I could take care of him and my brother, who was younger. Fast forward. I met my now husband at work, and we hit it off from the beginning. He took it upon himself to take my father to appointments and fix things around the house for them. When we moved in, my husband fixed the house for my parents every day after working 10 hours a day. Anything they asked of him, he did. He fixed the dryer 6 times, repaired the HVAC system, he is not an HVAC professional, and took his personal time to learn the basics so that our heat would work and anything else they needed. So now, we are married for a few months and have been looking for a home. My mother has been rude and passive-aggressive with him ever since we got married. Some backstory on my childhood. I was emotionally abused by my mom and was taught to hate my father because he was always working. My mother always used to tell me that my dad had no time for me and not to bother him for anything. My mother has always been toxic, but I was always gaslit by family and friends, and it was always my fault. My brother, on the other hand, had stolen from my parents, stolen thousands and thousands of dollars from them, became addicted to hard drugs, and has threatened to beat my parents and myself multiple times. But he's the golden child and can do no wrong. I have always resented my parents for this, but I was always made to believe that I was being stupid and it was my fault. My husband and I have put our own money into my parents' house to help fix it for them, with no request for payment back. My parents have been grateful for everything we, especially my husband, have done for them, but we keep doing it because we live there too. Recently, I was told by my therapist that in order to be healthy for myself and my husband, I would have to confront my parents about all the issues and trauma that I had been living with, so I did. This confrontation suddenly led them to claim that my husband is brainwashing me. In their words, there was never an issue, so why am I speaking up now? I was explaining to them that my therapist wants me to work on being more healthy with my family, and that is why I chose to speak to them. It all came to a head when we bought a shed. You see, my husband and I received many gifts for our wedding, and both of my parents said to place them in a room no one uses. Just recently, they've been complaining about the gifts and told us to figure out storage. So yesterday, we bought a small shed from Sam's Club, so we can place all of our things in it. This is what set my mother off. She said it was her house, and we had no right to purchase it. When we tried to explain the reason for it, she started screaming at my husband, telling him he does nothing in the house and we just choose to do whatever we want to do because we are selfish. She also said she wanted us out of her house. I told her we had no place to go and that we needed time. She then charged my husband and went to punch him in the face. My father stopped her, and then they called the police. When the police came, they told us that they felt sorry for us because we hadn't done anything, but that my parents decided to place a temporary restraining order on my husband. My parents were yelling and begging the police to evaluate me for brainwashing and Stockholm Syndrome because I would never speak to them like this on my own. The police obviously didn't do anything of the sort, and even told my parents that I was clearly speaking for myself and was under no duress. All of this over a freaking shed. Then the cops came a few hours later and said that I didn't have to leave, but that temporarily, my husband would have to. So we packed up our things and our dog and left to a hotel. Now, I've been getting messages from family saying that I'm in the wrong, and I'm an a-hole because I put my parents through hell. I've decided for my own mental health that I need to cut off all toxic family members because my husband and I don't deserve this. Am I the a-hole? No, you're not the a-hole, and you shouldn't have gone through any of that. But unfortunately, as you said, your parents are toxic. Cutting them out is the right thing to do. I don't know if you have friends or family members on your husband's side that can house you in the meantime while you look for your own place. But you need to try to stay away from your family as much as you can. Also, all the money that you guys have put into your parents' house for fixing it and all that, I don't think you're ever going to see that back. So, honestly, I wouldn't try to hold on to that. Just move on as quickly as possible to your own place and start your life with your husband, without your family. So again, not the a-hole, and good for you for setting boundaries. What is your judgment? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Don says, not the a-hole. Your parents are toxic. You help them, and they abuse you. I hope you find a place to stay soon. Rent a storage place and get your stuff out as soon as possible. Your parents may refuse to let you remove your things. If they do, take them to court. And once you and your belongings are out of there, go no contact for good. By the way, this is a common pattern. Parents abuse their child, and when the child grows up and gets into a relationship and also insists on boundaries, they blame the partner. It happened to me. I'm the partner, and this is completely on your parents, not your fault, and not your husband's fault. Let your parents live out their lives with their stealing, violent, drug-addicted golden son. Op responds, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for this comment, and you're right. I'm ready to move on and live happily, and they can ask my brother to help them because I'm done. Mr. Hydra says, not the a-hole. Wow, listen, therapy is good and all, but sometimes you just can't live with people, and there's no amount of self-help that can be done to change it. Like, sometimes it's not you, and you just got a clear sign that you need to cut contact. Honestly, it's silly to try to confront your abusers like this. They don't stop until you're not there to punch anymore. What was that therapist thinking? In order for you to be healthy, you must cut out the cancer. Op responds, that's what my husband is saying to me, that the therapist clearly doesn't truly understand the situation, and that if I continue therapy, I need to find another. Primary says, not the a-hole when someone's mom has a personality disorder, but the family stays together. The family usually ends up deferring to her because her constant criticism is as persistent as ocean waves. Op responds, I appreciate this. I was being gaslit so much I was beginning to think I did something wrong. So the community agrees that Op is not the a-hole, and they also gave her some things to think about, which I think she may act on them now. Let's move on to the first of two updates that the OP has given us. For those of you who read my first post, it's been 80 days since I posted it, and a lot has changed. My husband and I found a house and will be moving into our home at the end of August. I am currently low contact with my parents only because a lot of our things are in their house. Side note, the police even told my parents that they cannot touch our things and that they will come to help us move our things. There isn't anything my parents could do about that because we legally have a right to the residence since we have proof of residency in the home. When my parents first called the police officers, they were so disgusted with my parents that in the report, they actually cataloged all of our things to ensure it was all there when either of us want to pick it up. I have already set up a day for the movers to come help me gather all of our belongings. And yes, my parents know we are taking our things. I will for sure be requesting an officer to be there, just in case. My parents were giving no information other than we found a place of our own. My father has ignored me since the situation. They cost and basically blames me for it, but then tells my mom out loud he's not mad at me when I'm there. My mother thinks all is well, even though I tell her our relationship is the furthest from fine. But narcissistic parents will believe what they want. Once all of our things are out of the house, I'm cutting all contact with my parents and whoever else needs to go. My husband and I, even through this difficult situation, have gotten stronger and are living a fairly peaceful life. Therapy has been wonderful, and all the wonderful things that are coming our way, we are welcoming with open arms. One thing I realized, other than my parents being narcissists, is that I really did go through a lot of trauma throughout my life. My parents still think they're the best parents out there. There was a moment at the beginning of all of this where I thought I couldn't keep going. When I came out of that place and was strong again, I spoke with my parents about it, since my mom kept telling me how much they care about me still. Their response to all of this was, oh well, that's not our fault, and crap happens. They're right. Crap does happen, and it's going to hit them hard once I'm out of their lives for good. I'm so excited that I feel so free. I love this feeling, and I will continue to work and to do better for myself and my little family. Thanks for all the kind words and advice. I thought I'd share this with those who care to know how we are doing. I will definitely update after the move. I can't wait to begin my peaceful life away from the toxicity. Well, let's not waste any time, hop into our time machine and move on to the final update that was just a few hours ago. So, My husband and I moved into our new home, and we are loving the freedom. When I went to my parents' house on Friday to help the movers, my brother began saying some disrespectful things to me for no reason. I was moving my stuff outside when he stopped me to tell me how I'm crap and how the whole family is so happy for me to be out of the house permanently. I took this moment to see if my mother or father would stand up for me for once, and they didn't. Therapy has been so helpful through this process, so it didn't bother me that he said it or that they did nothing. It just makes cutting them off so much easier. My mother then texted me, asking if she and I can work on our relationship. I told her I'm not ready right now because she still hasn't proven that my brother and my father disrespecting me doesn't faze her. That's when the typical "I've done so much for you, and you treat me this way." Well, the answer is yes, because my life is much better without their toxicity. My husband and I are so happy to have this home for ourselves and our fur baby. I just want to thank you all so much for all the support and kind words you shared. If anything with my parents comes up, I'll update, but at the moment, this is the last. I hope you all have wonderful lives and just never give up. Stay strong and kick life's ass. Well, OP, I guess there's nothing else to say but good for you and your husband. Here's wishing you both the best in the future. Take care, OP, and thanks for sharing. And now, let's move on to the next post that also has an update. I pay you, so my son can move up too. I'm a Taekwondo instructor. I teach the youngest two age groups mainly. My younger daughter is in a Little Tiger program for 6 to 9-year-old kids, and my older daughter is in the Phoenix group, for 9 to 14-year-olds. The school is not commercial. All instructors teach on a voluntary basis. In fact, instructors also pay the same club fee, which is used for insurance and equipment, just like all other members. So, I pay for myself and my children to teach them myself, as both courses are directly after each other. I can't bring my little daughter home, or pick up the older one in between. The master agreed that both my kids can stay for both courses. The older one helps with the little ones, while the younger one does the games with the older kids. But then, she usually plays on her iPad when they do more difficult stuff. Anyway, the mom of a little boy in the Tigers noticed that my daughter was allowed to stay for the big ones course and asked if her son, 6, could finally move up too. As he has already been there for 6 months and is the same age as my daughter, I tried to explain that she wasn't really in the group and was only there so that I could teach. But she didn't accept that. She claimed that when the old master, who is ill and can't do this class at the moment, did the course, she already noticed that my daughter was his favorite. He knows her from birth, so of course, he is closer to her than the others. But he loves all the kids. She also mentioned that she pays me a lot of money and now demands that her son is treated in the same way as my kid, who doesn't even pay. I have no clue how she comes to this conclusion. She then demanded to speak to my manager, which does not even exist. The master leads the club, but there is no actual boss. But she knows there has to be a manager because she pays us money. I try to explain that she only pays for insurance and equipment, but she does not believe any of it. She actually called the old master in the hospital to complain about me. He tells her to cancel and sign up for a commercial club nearby, $50 a month instead of $70 a year at our club, where she could talk to managers all day, laugh, crying face. She complains to the board of the Umbrella Club, not the Taekwondo Club, but the sports club that manages many voluntary sports in our city. They are very confused. She still does not give up at the next lesson. She threatens to get me fired so that a real male trainer can finally take over again. I tell her that if I don't do the course, no one will do it. True voluntary work is not really popular. At the end of the lessons, she does not show up to pick up her son. I try to call her, but she ignores me. After 30 minutes, I called the police, telling them what happened. They take him. I tell them his address, and they take him home. Wow, that lady was definitely short a few grams for the kilo. She simply did not want to truly understand how things worked, and I gotta say, I loved how the old master told her, you know what? If you don't like it, go to a commercial club where you'll pay more, but you'll get to talk to managers all day. Now if off, leave me alone. Anyway, no judgment or advice requested from OP. We're not going to read any comments, and we're going to move on straight to the update to see how this story ends. So before I give you the update, I want to clear up a few things. We live in a small town in Germany, so people know people. Here is what I heard. First of all, I couldn't understand why she was so keen on putting him in a different age group, as kids are way taller and they just can't really spar or anything if the gap is too big. We don't separate them by belt ranks, just by age, and they learn the same things. But working with the little ones, we do more games and learn and play, while the older ones just learn differently. But there is a difference. We do not take the youngest age group on tournaments. Those tournaments are usually a couple of hours away and a full weekend trip. We stay in youth hostels or sleep in the hosting schools. The little ones are just not old enough to sleep in a foreign place without parents. Well, same problem as with the course. If I drive to a tournament with the older kids, I have to bring my younger daughter. Now, for the last tournament, 3 of my 10-year-old girls did a music performance. Because you can have 4 people in the tournament, they used my younger daughter, running around between them. It was super cute, and they won a gold medal for it. My younger daughter, as she was officially in that team, got a medal as well. And that is what triggered Karen Mom. Okay, so for the update and the police taking him home aftermath, she was very surprised when he came home. She told them it was just a misunderstanding, that he was enrolled in the second course as well, and that the master must have forgotten to tell me. So, nothing much going on there. But the kid had the best day ever. He got a ride in a police car, and they even gave him a teddy bear. He was the hero of the preschool. What Karen Mom had actually done was enroll her older daughter, different father, different last name, for a trial lesson. We usually offer 3 lessons to see if it's a fit for both sides. There, it clicked. I actually know the daughter who was in kindergarten with my older daughter. She then said, since they had the slot for her daughter but the daughter was sick, the son would take the lesson for her. So, when she dropped him off today, she told me the daughter is sick and the son will stay for both classes. Absolutely not, I told her. If she does not pick him up, I will call the police again, and they will probably not be as nice the second time. So, she actually picked him up. The daughter didn't show up. My older daughter told me that the daughter could not have shown up anyway because she is in volleyball at that time. I just had a long discussion with our master. He has never kicked someone out ever, but he will cancel both contracts for both kids and give them a full refund. He is such a nice guy. He would have given them a second chance after the first time, but trying it a second time was too much. Well, OP, you guys had no choice. She just kept on pushing it and got her kid banned from the class. That sucks for him, but well, hopefully, she learned a lesson and not be an idiot. Thanks for sharing, OP, and that's it for today's story.